Today we're introducing a new calculator skill that will be quite useful when you're problem solving, and that is the use of the calculator lists and spreadsheets page. So any problem that you are given that requires possibly a repeated calculation over and over and over is a perfect sort of problem to try a spreadsheet. So we'll do a nice easy one today and do a very introductory, very basic level spreadsheet. And knowing how to use a spreadsheet in future, you might find that's a useful tool to use for your problem solving as we move forward. So in this particular problem, we've got a fat cat that's initially 12 kilos and it's reducing its weight by 10% each month. We want to figure out how long it's going to take for that cat to be at least 6 kilograms lighter than it originally was. So in other words, we are trying to figure out how long it's going to take in months for that cat to be 6 kilograms or lighter. So first thing to do is figure out what sort of calculation this is talking about. So to reduce something by 10% really means multiplying by 90%. Okay, so if the cat was staying the same weight every month, we would just be multiplying by 100%, by 100%, by 100%, and that would keep the cat the same weight every month. Because we want this cat to reduce its weight by 10%, we don't want to multiply by 100%, but we want to multiply by 100 minus 10%, which is 90%. So 90%, as you know, is the same as 90 out of 100. And as a decimal, we can write 90% as 0.9. So in terms of what this problem's doing, we're starting off, the cat is 12 kilos. Then after 1 month, the cat reduces its weight by 10%. So we say 12 times 0.9, and that'll give us 90% of that cat's weight. So on the calculator to do that, a nice quick way to do it if you're doing something over and over and over again is to type in the starting point, which is 12, and hit enter. Now the calculation that we're going to be using for each month is times 0.9. All we need to type in then is times 0.9 and hit enter. So after 1 month, our cat weighs 10.8 kilograms. And then we want to take that 10.8 kilograms and multiply that again by 0.9. So all we need to do now, because we've set the calculator up to do this repeated calculation, is just hit enter. So it takes the previous weight, which was 10.8, and multiplies it by 0.9. If I hit enter again, it takes the previous weight of 9.72 and multiplies that by 0.9. And so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So you basically can just keep clicking and clicking and clicking enter until your weight falls below 6 kilos. Then all you need to do is figure out how many clicks did you do. So how many months are we talking about? Month 1, month 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've clicked enter 7 times to get that cat's weight below 6 kilos. So really what we can pretty much say just from that style of calculation is that in 7 months, this cat will be less than or lighter than 6 kilograms in weight. So that's one way of doing it. We call that method recursion, repeated calculations over and over and over. If we're looking at the by hand calculation, each time I'm doing it, so 12 times 0.9 gave me 10.8. So really that bit there is the same as 10.8 times 0.9 for the next one. And then the same thing again, 12 times 0.9 times 0.9 is this answer, times 0.9 gives me the next answer. So really, hopefully you can see a little pattern happening there. So what I'm really doing is saying this equation here is like 12 times 0.9 to the power of 1. Then really here what I've done, 0.9 times 0.9 is like 0.9 squared. So I could rewrite this thing as 0.9 squared. And then I could rewrite 0.9 times 0.9 times 0.9 as 0.9 cubed. And you'll notice if you try that on the calculator, you'll get the same answers as we have here using recursion. So the little pattern there that you should be spotting, I hope, this was the value at 0 months. This was the value at 1 month, at 2 months, and at 3 months, and so on. So we'd keep going like that by hand until we finally got down to a weight that's less than 6 kilos. If you're trying to sort of see a pattern, what I've really done every single time, when the month was 1, the power was 1. When the month was 2, the power on the 0.9 was 2. When the month was 3, the power was 3. So taking that a little bit further, we would expect that month 0, the power would be 0. And if you remember back to indices and you know that anything to the power of 0 is 1, 12 times 1 is 12. So that's exactly what we were expecting with our answers there. When you calculate 12 times 0.9 squared, 9.72, and when you calculate 12 times 0.9 cubed, we end up with 8.748, and so on and so on and so on. So this idea here is the one that I'm going to use for the spreadsheet, this kind of calculating, this thinking, I guess, for the calculating. So to open up a spreadsheet page, go to your home page and open up the green spreadsheets page. So every column's numbered, labelled, I guess, with a letter from A onwards. We're going to call, I'm really going to try and do like this on my spreadsheet, basically. I'm going to put in a column that is months. So I give that column a heading of months, and I give the next column a heading of weight. So because this is just an introductory spreadsheet, I'm going to just do a very easy way of calculating to start with today. And let's put in some data for months from 0 to 12. So we've got the first year's worth of weight loss. So if we go from 0 to 12, we've got our 12 months then listed. Then if I come up to my weight column, and I'm going to put in this second little box, the little cell on every column is called the formula cell. So I'm going to type in a formula there. And the formula I'm going to type in there is 12 times 0.9 to the power of whatever month it is. Okay, now the calculator understands all that language, so all I need to do is type in equals. As soon as I type in equals, you'll see the calculator understands that means weight equals. And I'm going to type in there's 12 times 0.9 to the power, and I want this to be a variable, so I want this to change every time I go down to another month. I want the power to change. So I want to call it the variable that is related to the months here. And on our calculator you can see we've called it months. So I do need to type in months, and you'll see that goes bold because the calculator knows that's a thing. Months is a variable and it's got some data in there. When I hit enter, the calculator automatically does all those calculations for me for each, I didn't mean to do that, for each particular month. So at 0 months, at the start of the experiment, the cat's 12 kilos. At 1 month, the cat is 10.8 kilos. At 2 months, 9.72 kilos. At 3 months, at 4 months, 5, 6, 7 months. And again, we can see as we go through the list there that we need to get down to 7 months before the first time that cat is less than 6 kilos. So we sort of knew the answer already, but the spreadsheet works beautifully for something like that. One thing we can also do on the calculator, say if I wanted to calculate something like the weight loss every month or something like that, I could do another quick little calculation on here and get the calculator to work out how much weight is this cat losing every month. And to do that, really what I'm doing is saying what is the cat's weight now and what was the cat originally. So for example, what I would do there is put a little formula in here and say, okay, the weight loss, well, the cat was 12 to start with, and if I did a subtraction of this column, the weight, type in the word weight, and the calculator bolds that, it knows what that means, and when I hit enter, you can run through each column there and you'll see that at the very start, when the month was 0, the cat's lost nothing. When the month is 1, so in 1 month the cat loses 1.2 kilos. In 2 months the cat's lost 2.28 kilos, 3.252 kilos, and so on and so on and so on. So you can again start clicking if you wanted to go the other way and look at the weight loss rather than the actual weight of the cat, and say, well, for the cat to be 6 kilos lighter or more, it has to have lost at least 6 kilos. So we look until the cat's actually lost 6 kilos or more, and we see again the answer is still month 7. So 3 different sort of ways we've looked at that same problem. The use of that spreadsheet is something that I would like you to have a play with for this problem, and then we might even move then into some more complicated problems that you could possibly apply this knowledge to.